I'm Dr. Gavin Schwartz-Leeper. I'm the Director of Student Experience for Liberal Arts at Warwick, and I'm a member of the Migration, Identity and Translation Network here at the University of Warwick. I think there's quite a lot of pressure, growing pressure, on academics to think about how to engage diverse audiences when we talk about our research. When we talk about our research, even to specialist audiences, what we're really doing is telling a story. We have data, we have various features we want to talk about, items we've discovered, concepts we want to try out, and we couch those in terms of a narrative. If we don't, it is boring, it doesn't make sense, it's disconnected. So to be able to convince people of the validity of our theories or whatever it is that we're doing, we need to shape it into that narrative. I think that for the most part, most academics are interdisciplinary anyway. For example, I work on, one of my new projects is on book history and the early modern printing trade. And that, of course, brings together all sorts of different disciplinary methodologies and pressures and interests. We're talking about economics of the early modern book trade, we're talking about technological advances, we're talking about language, we're talking about religion, we're talking about politics. All these things come together to inform how I see and how my readers see the early modern book trade. I think we're working at a really exciting time because it's so easy for academics to engage with the public and with each other, thanks to even tools as simple as the Humble blog or Twitter, for example. People want to know what the so what factor is, what's the thrust of your argument. And a blog is a great way, for example, is a great way to test out your ideas, to shape a narrative, to shape a particular problem that you've been working on, and get it out there and talk with people about it, get it discussed. We know that these are really high-impact tools, even if they aren't necessarily as formalized as the peer review process, for example. The digital humanities are really interesting, partially because that as a term means quite a few different things. It can be quite vague, and we can use that to our advantage, I think. Personally, I conceptualize the digital humanities as consisting of a few discrete areas, a few discrete approaches, let's say. One is that we can do new things with old texts. So for example, it's really hard for me to get to see the early printed materials that I need to use for my work, because quite a lot of them are in the Folger Shakespeare Library, they're in the Huntington Library in California, they're all around the world. And so when I talk about new ways to access old texts, we're talking about things as simple as digitization, that we are now able to examine in exquisite detail rare books and manuscripts and materials from collections around the world from the comfort of our own offices. This transforms our ability to access materials, and it transforms our ability to say that we're being comprehensive with our work. I think that 40, 50, 60 years ago, what would have taken 15 years, now you can do in a much shorter period of time. The second area is doing new things that we didn't think were possible before, that weren't possible before. As an example, there's been some magnificent work done with the Early English Books Online Text Creation Partnership. One of the examples that I was looking at recently was using XML encoded versions of Shakespeare's plays, where then the academic was able to come together and pull these amazing visualizations of the character interactions in Shakespeare's plays. While in and of itself, it isn't necessarily a new paradigm, it's not a brand new area. It allows us to think in brand new ways and see our information in brand new ways. And I think that links back to public engagement. It makes it easier for us to talk about our work to different audiences, but it also helps us reconfigure how we see some of these items working. My philosophy for teaching is really about getting the students to engage with each other rather than just listening to me talk. Especially since I teach in an interdisciplinary program, the goal is not for me to deliver as much content as I possibly can to the students. What's much more important is that the students are able to connect diverse bits, or seemingly diverse bits of information, in the ways that are relevant to their degree program and relevant to their interests. I think one of the most important things when you're designing a module or a teaching session is to think about authenticity. I think that so often we're tempted to use case studies that recur year after year because they're easy for us. We did it 5 years ago, we teach the same class for 5 years, it's simple to recycle these. But I think that students pick up on the lack of engagement that we're demonstrating with that. What I think students really want to see, if we can talk about students as a homogeneous whole, is energy, is engagement. They want to know that they are thinking through the same types of questions that we are as researchers.